out. It is going to be the jungle Karthus, and they're looking for kill pressure on the Syndra. Phoenix not backing down here. Even from Bjergsen's famous Syndra, wants to take the kill pressure into it. I do like the matchup, but it's kind of difficult to pull off if your jungler is farm focused like Karthus here. And Karthus doesn't do a great job at ganking Syndra and helping him out, but if you're able to get into range to land the slow from the wall, sometimes that's all it takes for Echo to actually be able to get in place to land the stun with the W and pull off the combo. It's just still difficult to do. Looks like TSM are also going to do the Wukong top block I was talking about.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider Echo squishy in the way that I would the other 3 champions that they've drafted that aren't named Tahm Kench, simply because unless you fully 100-0 him, he is going to be able to reset that HP with the ultimate. But there's not anybody particularly super tanky on the side of Dignitas going up against this TSM squad that can engage on you with a Rakan, that can blow somebody up there with a Syndra, that has the follow-up AoE power and team fighting capability of the Wukong. So I think Dignitas is going to have to be very, very aware of exactly how they want to approach these fights and not allow TSM to have any angles or really good flanks against them, because I feel like this Dignitas composition is one of those ones where if you give up one big team fight that leads into couple objectives, it's going to be curtain call real fast.
And my worry that was hanging over from last week of not having either Dardoch or Aphromoo or both on playmaking champions has emerged here as well. Karthus and Tahm Kench are not the ones going to make the big play for your team to bring crowd control to start off the fight. Karthus does try and play a lot from range unless you're looking for the all-in die and death defile right in the middle. A little bit later stages. Viper's been surrounded. Oh, Treat's going to W over.
Treat sees this. Okay, they're aware. Treats with the grand entrance. Viper with the flash immediately towards his allies, but a very nice plan there from TSM, keeping Treats in position in case they saw anybody running out of that tri-brush.
And that is a valuable summoner spell. No flash now for Jace to get away from the Wukong harassment. Anytime you have that, matchup with the Wukong, he's looking for those quicker trades where then he tries to retreat before the Jace can put the damage on the exit. It's basically up front, Wukong gets a big burst and you kind of win the trade, and then it's about how can the Wukong evade and get away from Phase Rush Jace, who tries to chase you back down. But if Phase Rush Jace doesn't have the flash, then he has to be a little bit more worried about jungle presence and doesn't want to overextend, so might have to be a lot more careful. Broken Blade pulls the minions. I want to talk about this real quickly as they go for the trade. There's 2 parts for pulling the minions. The first part is when you group them up like that, you can get them to focus fire the first of your minions that heads up to the lane. But also, if you pull them on this side of the map, you can see that the reinforcements, next wave of minions from your opponent, get there first and start doing damage first. So that's how you create it to push towards you, them being able to focus fire as well as having quicker DPS from the new arrivals.
Yep, nice little moves there from Broken Blade to try to encourage an early push from Viper and open up an opportunity for Spica to potentially get an early gank here in this top side, take advantage of that flash that was expended at level 1. But they'll just keep trading these auto attacks here back and forth a little bit as Dardoch will clear through his jungle, looking to grab his red buff. You can see a little bit of it feels a little bit slower than before just because of the Q damage, but he'll still be doing just fine for himself. And hey, I believe it's the movement speed buff that Karthus got was also plus 10, which is incredible. And I'm not memeing when I say that like the haha old Nidalee lost 5 AD thing. 10 movement speed is a ton in League of Legends, and I want to see how that plays out for this Karthus pick as the game goes forward.
Yeah, it's definitely ginormous, and part of the reason that Karthus fell off a cliff was because they initially nerfed the move speed and took away 5 from him. I wanted to get back to that minions on the top side, though. When you go for the trade and he draws aggro by attacking him, that's why the extra push didn't go his way, with the minions then targeting you instead of targeting your minions. So even with the setup work of pulling them, if you go for that trade and you get the ranged minions starting to auto you instead of autoing your minions, That's why it does not push in your favor, and Viper's able to stand just fine here. But yeah, back to Karthus. He was pulling the Raptors there just for extra sustain, trying to get the Talisman sustain as the burn just stays on them and continually gives you a fountain of life, basically. It's one of the tricks you can use on Karthus to not get low in the jungle and more power clear, because that's what he's looking to do early. Just power clear, does end up getting the top crab as well.
Yeah, a lot of AoE junglers are capable of taking advantage of the chicken camp like that with the Hunter's Talisman. Hecarim can do it, Evelyn can do it. There's a lot of opportunities.
Ships in the night.
Spica shows up, and he's going after Viper with the flash into the face breaker. And here's the follow-up from Broken Blade, and there you go. First Blood TSM taking advantage of that Summoner spell from level 1.
Yeah, they win the game of Ring Around the Rosie. It's so funny when you have this false sense of confidence. Viper there, he's like, all right, we just got the crab. Dardoch just took crab and went for the invade, but you see him taking the route over here to the Gromp. Doesn't have vision of Spica, and without knowledge of each other for Spica or for Dardoch, he passes right by the other avenue through the blue jungle. So while Viper thought he had everything going for him, Scuttle Crab vision, his junglers in there countering on the Gromp, Spica's eyes were on the prize, goes for the gank first, flashes in immediately, and TSM are able to get it.
Setting up Broken Blade for some success. You love to see it. As bottom side is Doublelift and Treats trying to get aggressive here in the 2v2, but Tahm Kench likes to shut that down. Fortunately, it's been a while since Kench has been off the bench. He's one of those champions that often forces the game to slow down a little bit because of his ability to keep his allies so well protected. And as I already talked about in Champion Select, with so many vulnerable allies, it will be up to Aphromoo to make sure that he is right where he needs to be throughout these fights, right? You got to make sure
Afro like best?
Hours off.
Who's he going to save?
Yeah, you gotta make the tough choice. It's like that classic thing where the train is heading down the tracks, it's gonna run over the guy, and you flip the switch to run over the other guy. Well, Tahm Kench, you're the railroad conductor, and you gotta pick who you save from the train, because that train looks an awful lot like Wukong and Set. Aphromoo trying to get himself away now as Doublelift and Treats continue playing this 2v2 so aggressively, and they know they can because Spica is right there, able to turn things around in case somebody would show up.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. You know, it's an AoE train that's coming through.
An AoE train.
There's AoE crowd control that's going to come flying out, and you only get a single target devour. Dardoch, does he get spotted? He does!
Broken Blade trying to follow that one up, and he gets it thanks to the bonus distance from the W, but Dardoch landing those Skittles means that Broken Blade goes down in a 1-for-1 there. But Broken Blade happy to keep on grabbing himself some more money, slow down Dardoch's farming there a little bit. TSM will also grab themselves the first Drake on the bottom half of the map.
So he actually doesn't slow it down at all because Dardoch was recalling there, and he just goes back to base anyway, and he heads right back out here. So it is flashes traded. I would say that flash for Wukong is very big. Dardoch can do a little bit better of a job hiding, farming jungle, just using the ultimate to try and affect fights. So I think that might have been a net negative trade for Broken Blade there, very slightly, because it also allowed Viper to push up the lane, and now the Wukong without the flash, not going to have the ult or flash for kill pressure.
Speaking of kill pressure, Bjergsen really wanting to make a statement here in the mid lane, forcing Phoenix to go ulti for ulti with him, but that does set up the opportunity for Spica to maybe come mid lane and force a play onto the Echo while he doesn't have that get out of jail free card. Bjergsen will take the blue buff, and I want to put everybody's attention here real quick on the inventories of the top laners. 2 longswords in Broken Blade's inventory. Because of the fact that normally Wukong rushes a Trinity Force, things are a little bit different here early on for him. This could just be a Tiamat to make sure he has some extra wave clear. It could be a Bork, it could be a Death Stance. There's a few different things that could build into. But the important thing is it's not Trinity Force, so a little unusual.
Yeah, not Trinity Force. I know a decent amount of top laners that like doing the Bork on him, so it could be that. It gives you this active slow, obviously, that helps you set up and keep people in range for your combos. So could be that one, but meanwhile, it looks like they're not really going to have an opportunity to use this Karthus ult anytime soon. All the lanes for Dig playing very defensively. Dardoch, even though he has very low mana, is heading out to a top lane possible play here. Again, remember it was traded flashes. and Broken Blade very much more vulnerable in the long lane there without his. But Spica keeps his eyes on the objectives. Going to be able to get the Rift Herald here as the recall completes for Dardoch. And TSM are going to have that opening to make a big chunk, a big donation to one of the laners. I would say give it to Bjergsen because his Syndra should be kind of pushed ahead in trying to complete the early staff, Archangel staff, so you can get it charging very quickly and get the extra safety of your Seraph's transformation.
Fully agree on that one. Make sure Bjergsen's staying ahead of the curve so the burst is as relevant as humanly possible. Broken Blade farming up underneath the turret here, maintaining a slight CS lead over the Jace, which brings me to a point of talking about Jace where this is one of those champions that you look at, and if Jace is going even in lane, it's like he's losing the lane because so much of the champion's power is just his ability to dominate the laning phase. As Bjergsen finds himself in some trouble here. Phoenix barely going to miss out on the stun. Bjergsen keeping himself safer than he would have been if that CC would have connected. But Dardoch also hanging around the mid lane here. Phoenix continuing to play ever so aggressively, going all the way underneath the turret there for Bjergsen. Setting up for the ulti from Dardoch, and there comes the laser. Dardoch takes a free kill.
Take notes, everyone. That's how you gank with Karthus.
You sit in the bush and press R.
You stand in the side brush. Phoenix does all the work. Boom, boom. All right, I got him low for you, buddy. Show the mechanics. Kaboom! R comes down. It calls down the laser, and Bjergsen just gets outplayed. Honestly, though, Phoenix deserves so much credit. The first jump over the wall, really good little chunk. And then no hesitation, gets right back out into it. You know that with a few patches ago, they nerfed the cooldown of that Scatter the Weak on Syndra, so she doesn't have as many answers as quickly because she has to wait longer for, stun.
Oh, I thought for sure that one was going to miss, but the very edge of the hitbox finds its way on the double lift, who goes up into the ulti, gets himself away. Treat's having a retreat now as well. Dignitas with 4 players in the bottom lane, looking to try to catch somebody from TSM, but flash used by double lift, heal from Treats means TSM gets away.
Yeah, good evacuation there from TSM. Phoenix good attempts with the teleport down bottom side, but they'll just have the rotation over. Broken Blade comes down after pushing his own lane, so they don't lose any minions for the attempt. And it's a big trade of summoner spells. Double Lift and Spica both blowing their flashes. So you'll look for a repeat opportunity. That's what you do with your Ash Arrow cooldowns. Spam it here. Next time they won't have a flash on Double Lift, and they're going to look for the kill.
Essence Reaver completed for Double Lift now too. You can see he didn't even bother to go for the basic boots early on. He wanted to completely rush this first item, which means he will have that power spike over Johnson here for a while. Not only is he 25 farm above his opponent, but Johnson stopping to get the full Berserker's Greaves means he will be 1,100 gold later on that first full item completion. Talking about items too, it was Tiamat for Broken Blade there in the top lane for extra pushing power here in the side lane situation, as it looks like Spica will take a second Drake uncontested here, and we've got Ocean Rift yet again, Mr. Kobe. So more pressure on Dignitas to answer this neutral objective game as we move forward.
Nice, calming, soothing noises. Viper gets a few more plates off, does miss the Shock Blast.
And Broken Blade just immediately turns things right back around, but Dardoch is here and waiting. Broken Blade turns Viper into a nice blend of whatever he was beforehand, and Dardoch gets the return kill, so a 1-for-1 there in the top lane.
Yeah, I think Viper gave a knock to the clone there, knocking the dangerous clone away, and Broken Blade's able to get the 1-for-1 even though there's the extra roam on their weak side since Dardoch does come up. Dragon stacking is going to be a problem here for Dig though. They're going to have to do a little bit more effort into keeping the vision, probably off of some Phoenix plays mid. That's definitely going to be their hope to get some priority, because other than that, TSM have done a very good job of pushing them in. One thing about rushing to that Essence Reaver extremely quickly for Double Lift and getting the full completion allows you to spam out your abilities with Xayah, and she can wave clear so incredibly fast. It's just so effortless as they're running down in a line. Spam out your feathers and you get your Blade Collar to annihilate them. So it gives you a lot of wave control as soon as you do get that power spike. Top side does Spica looking for the dive.
Oh, a TP also showing up means everybody from TSM wants to join the party. Bjergsen is here, and surely the damage will be more than enough. Viper just slammed around, beaten down. Spica not even needing to use the ult. He recognizes that would be way overkill, as Broken Blade now has the chance to get himself plenty of plate money up here before those fall.
Let's see if there's a rebuttal on the bottom side, because they actually expended a lot of resources. I'm not quite sure if the Bjergsen teleport was necessary. Phoenix does get a plate because he left the lane. Lands a stun here for himself, though, and a little bit of a trade. So Phoenix and Dig, they at least get some money back with a plate in mid, even though there was big losses on the top side, as they very easily get the kill on the Viper, not even having to use the set ultimate. And Broken Blade finishes off all but one of the top turret plates right before the timer expires.
Yeah, Broken Blade grabbing himself a kill and enough plates to set the dinner table, so he's feeling real good on this Wukong here on the top side, working on that Trinity Force now that I talked about the absence of earlier. I really do like the Trinity Force against heavily squishy compositions like what we're seeing on Dignitas, so glad to see he's going with that as his first big item. If we're looking at items across the board, Proto Belt is now done for Phoenix on this Echo, gives him some extra upfront burst capability as well as mobility. Johnson he's still trucking, man. He's got to complete that Bork, but it's still a little ways away. So Ash lagging behind the Xayah in terms of power for the time being, as Dardoch grabs his red buff yet again. He's right on top of one of those control wards, but he can clean that one up nice and easy. And the Karthus farm train never stops. Choo-choo.
Choo-choo, yeah. Meanwhile, the farm that you touched on for Johnson, like that, this just goes so much to talk about the, well, let's take a look at the trade here. Viper does get a decent amount of Broken Blade's health. Treats going in for TSM. And they talked a lot in the video that they put out about why they put Treats in, being due to his communication with the team. But his laning with Double F has been very good. His first game they got in, they got the 2v2 kill in lane with his Leona, and they bring out the Xayah Rakan here, absolutely smashing in the bottom side, keeping Johnson 20 plus, almost 30 CS now behind, and allowing Spica so much control over all the neutrals. Not only was it the first two dragon stacking, but it's also the Rift-Hailed stacks. Getting both.
Not too shabby for a guy who started off as a cardboard cutout in Academy, moving up now to the main stage.
True.
Yes. It's amazing what can happen when you switch from cardboard to the real deal. As TSM.
You got 3D printed here onto the Rift, and oh my goodness, it's just so strong.
The power of being a real human being, as the Rift-Hailed is collected, the red buff is secured. Dignitas try to move up into enemy territory there, but they're not really going to grab much worth mentioning. However, the Ocean Drake is spawning here in 25 seconds. Dignitas, they were able to sleep through the first couple of them, just let that go. But now it's time to wake up. Bang your hand on the desk there a little bit. Get them to pay attention, because you can't let all these go away. You do not want this TSM squad grabbing that Ocean Soul nice and early. The Rift Herald is summoned up in the mid lane. Phoenix is caught out of position, and he is killed before he's even able to chrono break. That's what I was talking about. I said he's not as squishy as the others because he can use the ulti, but if the chain CC is perfect, and it was, Phoenix can't get out. TSM with that play secure themselves this third Drake and put themselves at soul point.
Another one-sided affair here, Flowers, as Treats does face check the enemy mid laner. In previous times, you would think, oh my goodness, a support, only level 9, face checking this big, bad mid laner, Echo.
How risque.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm worried for his life. Immediately, though, Treats just turns on the ultimate. CC locks Phoenix after Double Lift arrives. He doesn't waste his crowd control duration in the early stages. He waits for Double Lift to be there to apply the damage. That's critical because it locks up Phoenix too long for him to be able to use his ultimate. He got CC'd from like, maybe we'll get the replay, but it was like 60% down to 0. No chance to get off the ultimate there. And it's just a quick pickup there. Double Lift cashes in, gets his first kill of the game, finishes up a rapid fire cannon now.
Well, Broken Blade goes after Johnson, but Johnson gets himself away with the flash before Broken Blade is able to get the extra damage and the knock up there. from that ultimate. So enemy 80 carry flash down, and it's Ashe, so no extra escape mechanisms built into the kit. It's all about third summoner spell Afro Moon now to keep Johnson safe in the following fights for the next 5 minutes. Doublelift with that 2-item power spike. He's so strong right now on this Xayah. He will be the one leading the charge here in the top lane.
Yeah, and they can easily split the map too. Broken Blade, like you were talking about earlier, he went with that early Tiamat. Now he's also got the Train Force on top of his Tiamat, so you have the wave clear and you have the burst damage. He easily shoves up that bottom lane, and TSM can continue to keep the 4-person squad of pressure here on top tower. Take this one, rotate through the jungle. You see all the control wards leading up to the red side jungle. They have nothing to worry about from Dig.
The one thing you have to respect if you're Broken Blade, hold on, we'll talk about it here after this. Let's take another look at how Treat set this up.
Yeah, he's thinking, oh no, dang, I face checked you, Phoenix. Please don't hurt me. Doublelift is on the way. He just dashes right over to Doublelift, goes back in, hits the knock-up, hits the charm. Phoenix is down, and just like that, TSM gained full control over the map, taking the opportunity to put those deep wards down, take topside turret.
And the thing I was talking about before the replay is when you look at Broken Blade, remember that the Wukong passive gives him a lot of armor. He has ninja tabbies for even greater armor, but he still has no magic resistance. So if Dardoch or Phoenix has the opportunity to put some damage into Broken Blade, he still will die very quickly when he dives in. You can see the Caulfield's Warhammer now being completed on his most recent purchase. It means he is going for the Death's Dance, which will make him significantly tankier, as well as adding a base amount of MR to help deal with some of the Magic Pen coming through from the Sorcerer's Shoes and Runes and Masteries and whatnot. So a little bit better after that one gets completed, but still a ways to go until it's done. 4,000 gold here, just a little bit shy of that. The lead for TSM. And Kobe, it is now shy of 2 minutes before we see what could be an Ocean Soul for TSM. Dignitas must have a plan.
Yeah, and just back on the Wukong thing too, Wukong is a firm believer in the best defense is a good offense, and try to get in there and knock up the opponent. So if he's in on Dardoch, Dardoch has maybe 1.5 seconds to live, as there's so much burst damage from Wukong. So you, and half of that time you get knocked up from the Wukong ultimate. So it's really hard to output that damage unless Dig can actually have team fight where they have the members together. You know, Johnson lands the arrow, locks somebody down. That's when you can shine and you try and hit your lay waste on the isolated stunned target so you can't miss them. But other than that, it gets so difficult to try and, you know, peel a Wukong off of mages like that. Dig have really no foothold to work with. It's also one of the reasons I really started to dislike Tahm Kench more than usual. Does not provide a lot for you in game states like this, where they've got no map territory to work with. Abyssal Voyage is at level 1 since the nerfs are super short range, so you can't even really get that extra mobility across the map until you get to at least level 2 of the Abyssal Voyage. So he's just kind of waiting around for the rest of the team. Yeah,
2 more levels to go there for Afro Moo, as nobody from Dignitas is around the Drake area just yet. It's now 15 seconds to go. TSM have priority over the Drake pit. Dignitas must answer, or they lose Ocean
teleport.
Soul. 22 minutes in. Here comes Broken Blade. Speak softly and hit him with a big stick. That's the Wukong plan. Can he do it? Can he find the angle here? TSM, they aren't even too worried about going for the fight. They're just looking for the Ocean Drake, and it started up. Doublelift doing the DPS. Speak is already waiting. Dignitas, you are not in position. You made no effort to contest, and that means TSM will take the Ocean Soul. Broken Blade jumps into the fight, immediately flashes back out. Treats goes in for the CC, also has to flash to get himself away to safety. TSM are looking for a fight after taking their objective. They will not find it. They have to use a couple of their own flashes just to disengage. Viper uses one of his own. It's still a summoner spell net gain here for Dignitas. But man, that is not a worthwhile trade when you lose Ocean Soul 22 minutes in. And now TSM are deciding they want to start up the Baron. Dardoch getting hit by the damage from Bjergsen, who fires off the entire of the ulti, just lets it rip. Goodbye, Dardoch. With the enemy jungler down, no smite opportunity there. TSM will continue with their Baron take, and Dignitas once again, Kobe, they are just sleeping at the wheel. Set up a sleeping bag in the front seat, why don't you? This team has got to figure out how to answer these objectives.
Yeah, this is why I had the big speech at the beginning of the game before we got into the Champ Select Flowers. I want to see Dardoch Aframu on playmaking champions. Don't give me this resident sleeper farming jungle and Tom Kench. Are you kidding me? These are the players that can push your game state forward. Why are you having them on these farming champions? Have those guys farming. Yes. Put Dardoch
will make swift work of Dignitas. 11,000 gold up.